Everybody out there in social media land, Gary Glass here, and we're jumping into the first bit of the science of personal achievement. Um, we're going to read the preface today, and you know what? I might as well read the list of the names of the chapters. So there's 17 principles that we're going to talk about as we read this book. So we're the introduction. It'll be right after preface, so that'll be tomorrow. We'll be on burning desire, but then we start in with the chapters and the principles. So principle number one, definiteness of purpose. Two is the mastermind alliance. Number three is applied faith. I can always tell when Hill publishes a book further in his deeper into his lifetime because he goes from titles of his or titles of chapters being just faith and then to applied faith. You have to have the application of your faith. Principle number four, pleasing personality. Principle number five, go the extra mile always. And if you've heard of David Meltzer, he often will say, go the empty mile. And we can talk about that later. Principle six, personal initiative. Seven, self discipline. Eight, controlled attention and concentration. And if you want to put all that into one word, I'd call it focus. Number nine, enthusiasm, having a good time with what you're doing. Number 10, creative vision and imagination. Number 11, learn from adversity and recognize that whatever adversity that you learn from is going to provide you an equivalent benefit if you've learned. You need to learn from it. Number 12, budgeting time and money. Principle number 13, you got to have a positive mental attitude. 14, accurate thinking. 15, sound health. 16, cooperation and teamwork. And lucky number 17, cosmic habit force. And we'll talk about that as we get there. Habit force effectively just being habit, or depending if you've done any personal development work at all, you might have heard it as just habits or programs or programming or paradigms, or but it's what's inside of you that just automatically happens. It's something happens and you react to it. However that reaction is, that's your habit, that's your programming. So let's see. This book was officially published in 2022 with the Napoleon Hill Foundation, and that didn't seem right to me, so I looked it up on Google. Google says it was originally published January 1, 1992, and it was written back in 1964. And in the next little bit of reading, it'll tell us it'll talk about that a little bit. So let's let's hop in. Let's hop in. We'll take a look at this. So, preface. Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, has sold more than 80 million copies since its initial publication in 1937. You might remember I said 200 million the other day. Well, that's if you count all the different languages, all of the different versions of it. Think and Grow Rich, a Black choice, a Latino choice. Think and Grow Rich for women. Think and Grow Rich, I'll call it an Asian choice. It's the title is really something different. How rich Asians think, which was really interesting because it came out. Maybe you remember that movie about rich Asians, and the book was published at about the same time, and so they ended up making a killing in sales because people were looking for the movie and they found the book. So any kind of interesting. Anyway, we'll continue. Or well, just start again. Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, has sold more than 80 million copies since its initial publication in 1937. His principles and insights, shared with you in this book, The Science of Personal Achievement, have been tested and proven successful by millions of people worldwide. The interesting thing about that is we're getting ready to talk about Andrew Carnegie, who at one time was the world's richest man. It's real interesting. Carnegie, being the world's richest man, really only made, I don't know, 10, 20, maybe 30 people millionaires, whereas because Carnegie put Napoleon Hill on this path of learning a philosophy of success through Napoleon Hill's books. Napoleon Hill has made millions of millionaires. So in reality, Napoleon Hill's ended up making more than Andrew Carnegie. But let's talk about Carnegie a little bit, and we'll keep going in the preface. Here we go. Here's the backstory. Andrew Carnegie, one of the richest people in the United States, wanted his success to be within reach of people who don't have time to investigate how others had made their money. So he wanted everybody to be rich. At age 12, he had worked as a quote unquote bobbin boy in a cotton factory, earning a dollar 20 a week. I can remember earning a dollar in 3 hours. It was cleaning the laundromat at the end of the block, and later a dollar 85 an hour. But this is a dollar 20 a week as a bobbin boy. And a bobbin boy, maybe you've seen thread bobbins for sewing machines. And so back in the day, in order for clothing to be made, there would be bobbin boys who they'd have all of the bobbins with all the different colored threads on this machine. And as a bobbin would run out of thread, the bobbin boy would take the old bobbin off, put a new bobbin on with all the thread on it, and get it started again so that the clothing could continue to be made. So that's what Carnegie was. He was a bobbin boy in a cotton factory back in probably the early to mid 1800s, earning a dollar 20 a week. And at age 66, he sold his steel company for $480 million. And this is back in about 1900, 1905, that time frame, which in 2022, which in 2022 would equal about $309 billion today. Carnegie identified several principles that he believed to be responsible for his success, and he asked Napoleon Hill, then a quote unquote mountain reporter, to dedicate 20 years of his life to testing the soundness of these principles by studying the achievements of various individuals across different careers and industries. So I think we talked about some of the names yesterday: Thomas Edison, Edwin C. Barnes, Henry Ford, Alexander Graham Bell, Teddy Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt, Woodrow Wilson, William Wrigley with the chewing gum. Remember Wrigley's chewing gum? He ended up becoming a very, very wealthy man from chewing gum, and many, many others. So over 500 of the most successful people of that era. So let's continue. The result he envisioned, this is meaning Carnegie, would be a formula for personal achievement that anyone could follow to attain their vision of success. And again, it can be financial, it could be education, it could be to help you be the best boss in your W-2 job. It could be to have a great relationship, romantic or business or whatever. It could be spiritual. It could be a great spiritual relationship. Just so important and so very, very good. So Carnegie believed this formula should be taught in all public schools and colleges. He maintained that it would revolutionize the entire educational system and reduce the time spent in school by over half. And I totally believe that today, being being the kind of guy that has, letters coming off, at the end of your name on a business card, how some people have the little letters. I'm one of those guys with letters going off the end of my business card. And not that I'm bragging or anything, but that you don't need to be doing everything that you end up doing to get a degree. There's so much waste. It's just such a waste of time, so much of it. The facts Napoleon Hill gathered by studying the success journeys of over 500 of America's greatest entrepreneurs, innovators, and leaders are shared in this book, The Science of Personal Achievement. They will give you an excellent idea of what you are capable of, provided you know what you want. And the other day we were talking about that. We ended up pulling out the first question rather out of Think and Grow Rich. What do you want most? Is it money, fame, power, contentment, personality, peace of mind, happiness? Honest and true, I start, when I start thinking about those different sorts of riches that Napoleon Hill talks about, and I start thinking, well, gee whiz, wealth, happiness, all of great uh, great spiritual growth, great educational growth, great financial wealth, great investments, great romantic or business relationships, great physical health, great, all these great riches. And if you ask me, all of them can go under the umbrella of peace of mind. Because don't you feel great? Don't you feel wonderful when you're feeling healthy, when your finances are under control, when your nutrition and your health is under control, when your diet is under control, when your relationships are going well? Anyway, enough of that. Let's keep going. Otherwise, we'll never get done. This book is assembled from a variety of live recordings and radio broadcasts delivered many years ago by Napoleon Hill. The strategies they relate are as clear and valid today as they were when he first voiced them, a fact confirmed by their constant repetition by many other speakers and authors. It's funny, even Tony Robbins, uh, Think and Grow Rich was one of the very first books he started studying. His first mentor was a man named Jim Rohn. If you want to, you can check out Jim Rohn in YouTube, and you'll get an idea of what kind of a man he was. And he was the very first book he had Tony Robbins starting out with was Think and Grow Rich. So pretty good. Uh, oh, and Bob Proctor and so many of the greatest speakers and authors started out with Think and Grow Rich as a first study. You'll discover what may have been one of the first links between thought and action and how you can benefit from it. Every chapter in this book introduces one of Dr. Hill's success principles, which build on each other as you read along. He clearly explains why and how each step has worked in every generation to help people think, achieve, and grow rich. And I love that. I love how that ends up this preface, and how it does. These three words highlighted: think, achieve, and grow rich. It of course it harkens to this book Think and Grow Rich, but it also reminds me there of the triplet of words. I don't know if you can see right behind me. I've got one of Hill's quotes up, and it says, "Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve." And there's that triplet of words also: uh, conceive, believe, achieve. And we'll be talking about all three of those as we continue to read The Science of Personal Achievement by Napoleon Hill over the coming month or so. All right, I think that's going to do it for today. As is my nature, God bless you, God bless me, God bless us everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye bye now.